So are you curious about what it's going to cost you once you actually relocate to the Tampa St. Pete area? And if you're even thinking about moving to the Tampa St. Pete area, you need to watch this video. I'm going to go over a lot of things you need to consider, especially when it comes to your pocketbook and how much money it's going to cost you to live here. So let's get after it right now. Hey everybody, I'm Emily. I'm a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Florida, and I live in the Tampa St. Pete area, and this channel is dedicated to all things living, working, playing, sleeping, eating, and especially the housing market in Florida. So if that resonates with you, would you mind hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell? That really helps me out a lot. And if you like this content, it would really help me if you hit that thumbs up for me as well. That really helps push my content out to other viewers like yourself that are looking for this content. And as always, if you have any real estate related questions or you're looking to relocate or to sell property in the Tampa St. Pete area, I'm your girl, but you have to reach out to me so that I can get us a conversation going and I can see what kind of issues you have or questions you may have that I could answer for you. So all those links are below and I'm looking forward to having those conversations. So are you thinking about becoming a future Floridian? Well, there's a few things you need to think about before you make that jump. I've been having lots of conversations with several of my relocation clients, and we're talking about, renting versus buying. What's it going to cost once you get here? What is the cost of living? And it seems to be changing nationwide anyway. So today I kind of wanted to do a little deeper dive into some numbers and to give you a little bit of an update as we're ending 2022 and heading into 2023, especially with the interest rates being all over the place and the housing market being all over the place. And what does that mean for the bottom line for you? So let's dig in right now. So when it comes to looking for a home in the Tampa St. Pete area, there's a lot of, let's just say, speculation or, the data's a little skewed.
Why is this so confusing?
When I'm looking at average home prices, the problem is we can have a $15 million house sell and that totally jacks up the average. So what I'm seeing right now is the average home in Tampa is about $400,000. Now that can be a little bit less or a little bit over, but that's now our new average. Can I get you into something under that? Sure, but it might need a little work and it might not be in a very favorable neighborhood, or maybe not the neighborhood that you choose, but it can definitely be a good place to start. So when you're thinking about moving and you're looking at your budget, I tell people all the time, you can decide in your mind how much you want to spend, but you really need to talk to a licensed lender that's licensed in the state. Below, if you've had good luck with, Rocket Mortgage and Quicken Loans, I haven't had any good luck with those people. I tend to stay local. I have a bunch of lenders that are in my back pocket, and I give you that list, and you can discuss your budget from there with them. I've had a few clients decide that they want to rent first and buy. So while they're here renting in a short-term rental, we'll start, running around and looking at houses and neighborhoods and that sort of thing. So the best thing to do is let your agent know that. Let me know that. There are some short-term rental property management companies that I know of. For the most part, we're not really set up for rentals, especially on the agent side. It's not something that we're really focused on. I've lived in other states where, rentals were very lucrative for a lot of agents, but it just isn't here. But if I'm going to be helping you buy a home, then I can absolutely help you find a short-term rental. And they're not always going to be on like apartments.com or hot pads and that sort of thing. So we can talk about that. I now have about 4 different clients that are in short-term rentals, and we're, picking weekends and looking and starting to make some offers, so that can be you as well. So let me know about that, but you need to understand how much it's going to cost you to be in a short-term rental, or even if you decide to do a long-term rental. The average rent price in today's market is about $2,000 a month. So you got to weigh that out with a mortgage. How long can you afford to be flushing that rental money down the drain when that money can go towards a down payment on a house? So you got to really weigh that out, what's best for you. And yes, housing prices are going down. This is again a conversation I have daily with people. And there isn't some magic number or magic percentage that we're all waiting to get to then buy. Here's the balancing act. Yes, prices are dropping a little bit, but the interest rates are rising. So really, we're sort of in the same boat. It's going to come down to that payment. So it's really important to discuss all this with a lender so that you know what interest rate you're going to be at, and can you lock that rate in? Lock it in. If you can lock it in for 90 days, do it. If you have to pay to lock it in, it's worth it, because we have been hearing from the feds that we're probably going to have 1, 2, maybe even 3 increases in interest rates over the next 6 months. So put yourself in a really good position and lock in that rate now, and that way you know where your payments are going to be. And when it comes to property tax, that's always a big concern with my buyers, and that's something that we start to investigate as soon as we get under contract. But you can usually assume you're going to be paying about 1.1% of the assessed value of the home in your taxes, property taxes. But you can get a little break if you homestead. Homestead in the state of Florida means that your house here is your primary residence. Homestead exemption means you get a reduction of assessed value of the home and caps how quickly your property tax can grow year over year. So it can really only grow about 3% a year. So it's a really great feature that we have in our state that helps you with, you've probably been hearing on the news about property taxes and that sort of thing, and it's a real problem. So homesteading will help you in that regard. You're also going to need property insurance, and in some cases, flood or wind insurance. So you're going to work with your agent or me on what areas are flood zones and not flood zones. I'm dealing with a property right now. We're in a flood zone. There is definitely some leaking in certain parts of the home that we have to kind of keep an eye out for. Is that just age because the house is 1958, and sometimes that happens, and a lot of people don't keep up their houses. So there's a few little things they're going to have to do once they close. So property insurance is going to cost you roughly around 0.5% of the sale price of the home. So if the home is $400,000, that's $2,000 a year. Keep that in mind. So what is the price of gas right now? This is something I watch a lot because as an agent, I am crisscrossing town all the time. Luckily for me, I have a hybrid and I love that car and it gets great gas mileage. But I've been watching, and I'm one of those people that I try to go to Costco or Sam's Club or BJ's. We have a BJ's market here. And you can get pretty good gas prices from those big warehouse memberships. But if you're just running around to a normal gas station, right now the average gas price is going to be around that $3.50, $3.60. And depends on what part of town you're in. The more expensive parts of town, higher gas prices, etc. So it's been going up and down. It dropped for a little while, but I'm starting to see it rise again. So, you've got to factor that in as well when you're looking to, are you a commuter? Are you going to have to commute to your job every day? Then you got to, budget for that gas. My boyfriend has to travel about 45 miles in the morning to his job, and he has a truck. So he spends quite a bit on gas weekly. So it is something that you have to consider and budget for. So the average cost of car insurance in Florida, at least that I've been hearing, is about $190 a month. I pay a little less than that. It's going to depend on the zip code that you're in, and you can kind of go over that with your insurance agent to find, the best price for you. Florida's been notorious for having exorbitant amounts of what you have to pay for automobile insurance. It has to do with the fact that there are a lot of uninsured drivers here, and that just raises our rates. So, factor that in, that it might be a little sticker shock when you move here that you actually have to pay more for car insurance than you might have paid in another city. I came from Atlanta, and I can't believe how much more my car insurance was. I think it was probably $80 more a month than I was used to in Atlanta. So, and let's talk about utilities. So obviously I work from home, and a lot of us are now working from home. And so that sometimes can tend to raise our utility bills, and it can kind of get out of control. Not to mention, when you live in Florida, you are going to have very, very hot summers, and that AC is going to be running. And you can go 1 month in April and you can have a $100 utility bill, and then you can get to August and it's $300. My condo averages about $100, $130 a month, and that's kind of high, but there's 2 of us here. I work from home, it is what it is. There's something that I've been telling a lot of people about, especially when we're looking at homes and especially the older homes. You can get TECO, which is Tampa Electric Company, which is our biggest provider of utilities here. And you can ask them to come and do a free assessment, an energy assessment of your property. And what they did for me, and I think I mentioned this on the last video that I talked about, the cost of living, because it's really important, especially if you're trying to balance your budget monthly and you don't really want to have to plan for that $300 utility bill. TECO comes out, it's a third party. Well, actually, TECO doesn't come out, it's a third party provider. But they come out and they assess the AC unit, your air ducts, the doors, the windows. They help reseal the door if there's any sort of old sealant there, which my door had. I was leaking energy out of my door, and they did it for free. And then they shared more information on other ways that I could be more energy efficient, and it was really great. They actually blew more insulation into my attic, which obviously helps with keeping the heat in the attic and not in my condo. So I highly recommend once you land here and you're setting up your utilities, you look into that. Because with TECO, you can also have them conduct an energy audit on your bill. So as you kind of are here and you're assessing how much your energy bill is going to be month over month, I noticed for me when I moved into my condo, there was such a difference in price every month of what I was being charged for utilities. It was getting a little outrageous because how do you budget for that? And so I did their energy audit and they audit my bill, and every month my bill has one number and it stays that way for 12 months. And then at the end of the year, they reassess based on the utility usage for that year, and then it'll go up or down. It just depends. Mine went up about $30. It wasn't that bad. It was at $100 for a while. So like I said, I've been able to use utilities about $100 and then it goes up to 30. So that's where they averaged it out, and it works out for me because then I know it doesn't matter what I use. This is what my bill's going to be. I can budget for that. And then if it goes up the next year, I know, I need to kind of watch it a little bit. So that's a good way to keep yourself on track with utility bills, because as we all know, a huge utility bill can really mess up a budget. On average, your lawn care is going to be about $100 a month, and pool service anywhere from $40 to $70 a month. Again, you can shop these rates. These are just averages. And again, pest control, I have Pest Bear. I love them. They're all over town. They come quarterly, so it ends up averaging out to be about $30 a month for that. And trust me, you're going to need pest control. The first thing you should do is call the exterminator and get that house exterminated from head to toe before you even move anything in. Pro tip. And then have them come out. Even in the beginning, I'd have them come out maybe monthly for the first 3 months to kill any eggs or anything that's hidden, and then go quarterly, because let me tell you, there's no way to escape the bugs. And especially when we're in our rainy season, you're going to get a lot of bugs because they're coming inside where it's dry. Let's talk about jobs. My past career, I was an IT recruiter. So I am a fan of recruiters. And in this market here in Tampa, I know it can be a struggle. Definitely a lot of my friends have struggled trying to find other jobs, and it takes a while. If you do not have somebody on your side who only gets paid when you get paid, then that to me is a no-brainer. Hire a recruiter. We've got some great recruiting firms here that can help you on that job search journey. But don't forget, you really want to secure that job before you move here. Once you get here, it's not going to be so easy to find a job. I think people, you watch our videos and Florida's amazing and it's beautiful, and you just think it's paradise and everything's just going to fall in place. It doesn't always work that way. Be realistic. Get yourself a recruiter. Start to do the interview process. Do all of this before you get here. Trust me, it's just going to be easier in the long run. How much do you need to make to live here? Well, home buyers in Tampa, Florida need to earn $67,000 annually to afford the metro area's typical monthly mortgage payment of $1,684. That's up a staggering $21,791, which is basically 47.8%. from $45K a year earlier, the biggest percentage increase of any major U.S. metro. we all know that Tampa has just grown by leaps and bounds. I mean, everybody has just moved here. It's been a little nuts. You can tell by our traffic. But you have to consider what it's actually going to cost, what kind of income you need to actually survive here. You don't want to move here and, be in a pickle. So again, 67K or more, you're golden. So I'm not going to get into the minutia of activities and restaurants and grocery bills. I will tell you this much, though. I have noticed that the prices on groceries have definitely increased, and certain things like I love to shop at BJ's Market. It's like a smaller version of a Costco, and I usually buy the big packets of chicken, and it was like $9 maybe 6 months ago, and now it's $15. So things have definitely increased, and that has to balance out with your budget as well. So those of you that are coming here from these big cities, some of these numbers aren't going to matter to you, but some of you that are coming from, average states that are similar to Florida when it comes to our living expenses, there are going to be some things that are going to be a little bit more pricey than what you're used to. And it's best to have this information now so that you can plan, especially if you're thinking of doing a short-term rental, because short-term rentals, just so you know, are going to cost you more because they're short-term, right? So you're going to have the majority of those months that you want to rent that short-term rental for, you have to give that money up front. So you've got to be able to plan for all of these things, right? So I just want you to be educated, and I want you to come to our gorgeous state prepared and ready to be an added wonderful addition to our neighborhoods. So I hope this was helpful to you. I hope all my future Floridians out there, this is going to help you make your plan, get your budget tightened up, and understand a little bit better about what you're kind of walking into once you get to Florida and Tampa and St. Pete in particular. And don't forget, you can always reach out to me. I've been getting text messages and phone calls and emails and Zoom calls lined up, and it's been really fun. And I try to answer you guys as fast as I can. But again, if you're looking for someone to help you with your relocation plan, you need to click my calendar link that's in the description below, and let's get a conversation going and let's get a plan. And we're going to start watching the market together so I can help you on that journey. And if you have any other real estate related questions, again, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can always comment below. I love it. Love to hear what you have to say. And again, I take requests. So if there is a video that you'd really like for me to do, mention it below and I will add it to my list. And as always, I really appreciate it if you like this content to hit that like button. That really, really helps me out a lot. And hitting that subscribe button and notification bell helps me out as well. And I really appreciate you guys visiting my channel and watching my content. And I really hope you're doing well out there, everybody. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.